My goodness. Oh my goodness. Goodness. What's going on? Jeez, look at this. Look at this mess. Look at this mess. How's everybody doing? Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. It's a big weekend for travel. Matty Q, good to see you. Glad you got the notification. Got a stream. Wow, my face white. It's like this crappy camera. Wow, look at that. What? Focus, crappy camera. Changing my camera. Well, that's no. There we go. Dorigo, good to see you. John, yeah. I'm going to try to get those out, John. I've recorded, I think, every session, except sometimes I hit the record button too late. So the first, 4 minutes are chunked off, but I may just put it out as audio or video or both. Last night we continued our journey in Forbidden Lands via water. Now, I don't know if you've looked at water encounters, but the likelihood of something happening on water is significantly less than it is on land. So as long as we don't get hit by a sea serpent, I think we're going to be okay. So there was a question because we're Harrigan's taking over and trying to get to the Bitter Reach. And of course, in Forbidden Lands, it could take a while to get anywhere. So we were talking about, or we were considering fast forwarding timeline, going to, should we move us down the way just a little bit to get us there quicker? And the consensus was no, we'll just keep going the way it is. So yeah, Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands, yeah. Yeah, Kevin does a really good job. I relied on him pretty heavily when I was game mastering, or when I was in the GM seat, because I would try to remember what happened the previous week, if there was any details, or how did they interpret some of the stuff that I put in front of them. So he does a good job of taking bulleted notes for sure. For sure. I gotta get vanilla Coke here in a second. Hey, William. Good to see you. Morning. Sometimes this vanilla Coke gives me such indigestion in the morning, so I'm going to have to cut back. So what's new? What is new in your life, in the gaming world? We're going to go over some things today. I'm just going to get to this one. What's up, Nubis? Good afternoon. So these lands you speak of, they are forbidden, yet they are on water. Strange. Indeed, Maddie. It's the forbidden water. Maddie, you have not played Forbidden Lands? Have you heard of Forbidden Lands? Hey, Larry. Good to see you. Morning. Thanks for joining me Memorial Day weekend. I know a lot of people are traveling and doing the camping, glamping thing. I'm actually going to be going on Sunday down to my sister's place. It's a couple hour drive, not too far, to see her. Even though she's coming up, I guess, over. It's not really up, but I guess it's over. I don't know. She's coming near me to see my mother today, so it's kind of weird why we're doing that. I have no idea, especially with the price of gas. I filled my gas tank this morning. Cost me like $50. Yikes. I got a really shitty freaking, not a car that's not known for mileage. Yes, it's on my free league list. Haven't played yet. It looks great. Great reviews. Yeah. So Dorigo rolls and plays Forbidden Lands, and as do I. So yeah, it's fun. It is a different type of game. If you haven't seen like the video that I did with it, or even the talk with Phil Vecchione on Gaming MBS, it is a different fantasy game. Like if you've got players that are really, hey Jason, good to see you. If you've got players that are not, the journey is kind of like in the way of doing what's at point A and point B. And they don't appreciate having some personal, how do I put it? Personal complications on a in-game daily basis. They're probably not going to like it too much. So it's not for everybody for sure. I've heard people that have come from the D&D space, specifically 5th edition, that have played Forbidden Lands, and they're just like, this stuff, can we just get rid of it? It gets in the way. And this stuff is kind of at the core of the game, actually. Oh, you're a Symbaroum guy. Okay, cool. So yes, Forbidden Lands is a similar mechanic as Vaesen, similar to Mutant Year Zero, which is the Year Zero engine, similar to Tales from the Loop and Alien, but they all have their little take. So it's not one for one, but essentially, you have the core abilities, the 4 core abilities, and then you have the short skill lists. It's all die 6 pool. Yeah. 6 is success. Banes are 1s. Banes come into play on a push roll, not on the first one. So that's essentially it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Symbaroum. I'm curious, Maddie. Are you all in on the Symbaroum system, or have you delved into the 5th edition version of Symbaroum? Because I've heard mixed reviews about the 5th edition. It looks great. And I say mixed reviews because I think there's some leaning on the core D&D books for some things. So it's not like a self-contained by Symbaroum, you have everything. It does kind of truly go back to those days of the D20 license and saying, hey, you need these core books to play it. Screw the 5e1 completely changes the game. Interesting. Hey, Roger. I know some people that are not fans of Symbaroum's system. I know that there's corruption. And it's a roll under, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've read them, so anyways. I'm going to start off with this today. I got it. I finally got it, guys. I got it. Some of you that are patrons know this, but I got it. Midnight. The Legacy of Darkness. This thing is the best, like as far as production goes, the best version of Midnight. I should probably even show you. Hold on a second. This is the 2nd edition. If you haven't bought Midnight or don't know about it, I will educate a little bit. Player facing. Yes, that's right. Roll under. Got it. Midnight. Originally done by Fantasy Flight Games back in 2003. Has the 3.5 piece on the back, so it's for 3.5 originally. At least the second edition. I think the first might have been close. The only difference between first edition and second edition is, or one of the bigger differences is that second edition incorporated some elements from some splat books that they did. And they thought, well, we should probably put that in the core major book. So when they redid the second edition, they put some of that in there. I thought the second edition brought up to speed some of the three things that came out in 3.5, but I don't know. Regardless, again, if you're not familiar with the setting, it's always pitched as, think of Lord of the Rings, but Sauron wins. And then, the whole land is overseen by the dark god Isildur. And that's essentially what it is. And so the weird thing is you can't really see this really awesome, but even the second edition, like the first, is this 30 pages? Yeah. The first 30 some pages are this weird color. Like it's glossy paper, kind of colored, got the parchment kind of background, right? Trying to make sure there's no. And then right after that, everything goes sheer black and white. So it's kind of like, oh, dude, we got to throw these in. Or, oh, we wanted to do all this in color, but it's going to be really expensive. So since we already did the first 30 pages, fine, but the rest have to be black and white. So weird. Like, okay. Has a map in the second edition, like right inside cover. Great. And I mention this because I'll show you something in a second. And then, of course, it's got the different archetypes and spells in the second edition. The layout. The art. I want to say it's all kind of done. Different artists and everything. Regardless, this is it. This one comes in at, with an index, about 397 pages. Okay. Right. Pretty decent. It's got a very smooth, I don't even know how to put it, but the pages are really glossy, like super so, even black and white. Maybe, yeah, a little sheen to it. Right? This one, you could tell, like, this was 2003, this is 2022. So a few years have gone by. If you picked up a Star Wars book, this is what this feels like physically feels like. It's got this, they must use obviously the same binder and printer. Because even the front cover has got kind of the, like if you see Star Wars, Fantasy Flight Games stuff, it's got the Star Wars stuff and then it's kind of glossy, like almost like it's a sticker, but it looks and feels better. The binding is pretty solid. This one is 367 pages. And it feels and looks, well, I'd say it's about the same thickness. Actually, it looks a little thicker. So it's probably the paperweight between the two. That the new one is it just seems like a sturdier book for some reason. It's also got ribbons in it. So I'm very impressed with the production of this. Plus it's almost more consistent. Like I know they have a variety of different artists. But the layout is, I don't know. I just think it's better. It's a better book overall. It's got smaller print. So it's probably more dense, and not every page has a lot of art. I only point that out, not comparatively speaking, in the art piece, but when you don't have a lot of art on the pages, there's a lot more text. Therefore, there's a lot more information. I don't think that from one to the other, the lore has changed as far as I can tell. Like, I think if you have this, which you can get probably from Noble Knight, I know you can get this in PDF on drive-through. So I think like hey, this is what the Dark Lord Isildur is about. Here's the history of Eredane, which is like the continent that it takes place on. Here are like the villains of the Dark Lord. All that stuff I think is probably pretty consistent. And the person who is involved with actually developing, Midnight originally, Greg Banagi, is on the front cover of the new book. So either they just took all the same info, transferred it to the new book, put his name on there because he did the original and called it a day, or he was literally involved in getting this out. I have to think the latter, but you never know. It is updated for 5th edition. It's got heroic paths in it. And the way, I think in the original, it was more like an archetype type thing, if I'm not mistaken, for player characters. They got different new spell. Oh, let's see. Yeah, so they have prestige classes in the original, right? When prestige classes were around. Obviously, no prestige classes necessarily in 5th edition, so what they did was they still have the regular classes, except monk, which is kind of you can come across monks, but they're very rare. But they're not a playable class in Midnight, the setting. The other class that is not playable is clerics. Because the only god that exists in the setting is Isildur. So if you worship Isildur, you're evil. And of course, they're not going for player characters to be evil, though I imagine if you're a game master and you want to do it that way, it's your prerogative. But there's no good clerics. Well, what do you do about healing? Well, that's a whole nother subject, right? And magic is, if you're not familiar with Midnight, magic is outlawed and actually tracked down and sniffed out. So if you come across the magic item and you use it, consider it like the same as being a Jedi during the dark times and whipping out a lightsaber and using the Force. They will hunt you down. The evil lord's minions will hunt you down and take those magic items from you. So it's very dangerous. But anyways, I'm very impressed with the book. Just production value. Honestly, I keep this, I guess, just for the hell of it, but I don't probably need it. I've got some other supplements that I probably want to keep, some splat books, but I don't even know, What they did in here is they went heroic paths. So you pick a heroic path, and each heroic path has a feat. It is like a feat tree, not even a feat tree, just a list of feats. So you can pick a class and then you pick a heroic path. So it's not class specific. So like in 5th edition, when you create a rogue, you might pick an archetype. And then when you pick the archetype, every, 3rd level, second, 4th, I don't know, you get a special thing for your archetype. It kind of mimics that a little bit, but you're not tied to your class, or the heroic path is not tied to the class. And you can pick feats from different heroic paths. Okay, so you don't have to be siloed into one specific one. So the only caveat to that is you can't get the first heroic path feat from another one. So you miss out on that one initial feat. You only get the one that you pick first. The rest come every 4th level. And there are prerequisites to some of those. So some may say, well, you have to have, a dexterity score of 16, and then this is what it does. And then the heroic paths are really kind of put into place. And some could argue, well, you're a hero because you have these things that you can do, or it's because these things that you have that you're a hero. Tomato, tomato. And I think, this is my take, and the reason I like Midnight itself is because, especially even for 5th edition, if a company, a party of player characters come together and they truly want to be heroes, I think it's kind of thrown around in the 5th edition space pretty willy-nilly. Like, hey, you're going to create some heroes, you're going to be 1st level, and you're heroes, you're better than everybody else, which is great and fine. But you might be hired to do something. It may not seem necessarily heroic. And then as you progress up the levels, maybe you become heroes. Maybe it depends on the adventure path or the campaign or whatever the dungeon master's thrown at you. C'est la vie, great. In Midnight, you are like the last hope. You're like the beacon of light in a world of darkness. There's different, like you have human, dwarf, and elf, and a few other races. And with those races, you have different factions of them, right? So you have human, and then you've got the ethnicities of humans. Same with elves, right? You have different elves where they live and how they view the Dark Lord and the history of those. And so some of them are, I wouldn't say they're in league with the Dark Lord necessarily, but you could go into a town and you're trying to save the village and be this do-gooder and stand against the tyranny of the Dark Lord, and you could still have people betray you. So it's, again, I always related going back to the Jedi, where people are like throwing Jedi under the bus, and they do it because they want to gain favor with the Dark Lord or the evil empire. And so it's hard to trust specific groups and people, and, because they're only looking out for themselves, and then you bring danger to the community. They want you out of there. So it's an interesting dynamic with Midnight, especially like the magic piece being outlawed. I don't know. I think it's exciting. That's the type of campaign setting that appeals to me. On the flip side, I also like Eberron, which is completely different. So anyways, there you go. A little bit about Midnight. If it's something where you like, the Lord of the Rings, but what if Sauron won and casts the world into darkness necessarily, and they've got, it's got some 4 bad, evil right-hand baddies to do his bidding. The Legates are super awesome. They're kind of like the dark clerics of the setting that roam around and make sure everybody's following the rules. Not any talk of usurping or rising up, squashing any of that stuff. Looking for magic items. They walk into a town, they're bad news, bad reputation. There's a video on YouTube if you do like Midnight RPG movie. I think it's like a 10-minute movie, and I think a Legate walks into town, and you can get the ominous feel from their presence. So if you like that type of world, then this is, I think, a great campaign, and the book's awesome. So you can get it on PDF on drive-thru. Here's the thing, which I thought was super awesome until this morning, is when I got it and I opened up 2 pages in, hey, there's a discount code for drive-thru RPG. Get the PDF. Fantastic. No Kickstarter. I buy the hardback for $45-$50, whatever it was. I say whatever it was because I had a bunch of points stored up in my local game store that I got it essentially for nothing. And I used the discount code to get the PDF today, and the discount code's expired. Awesome. It was released yesterday as of this recording. So I'm like, what the hell? Anybody else having a problem with this? So just a word of caution. If you're banking on the PDF from getting the hardback, there may be some hoops to jump through. Because I'm like, who do I call to get my PDF from drive-thru? And why is it expired? So, Herman, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining. Wayne, morning. Spot gloss. Yeah, that's what it is. Spot gloss. So you can order from Asmodee directly. I think some people are doing that. That's where they're getting it. I called as soon as I heard the release date, I called the FLGS and said, hey, I want to pre-order this. And they typically give you a disc. I think mine gave me a discount code. I'd have to double check. Maybe they didn't. They should have. But anyways, so it's really good. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Would buy again. So there you go. There's not, other than like the history, the heroic paths, the restrictions on classes like cleric and monk, it's broken down into books, and then each book in this core tome is broken into chapters. So it's, book 1 is Adventures in Midnight. Book 2 is The World of Midnight. And then book 3 is The Secrets of Midnight. So you could kind of figure out what's probably in those books. Like the Adventures in Midnight is like heroic paths, core classes, backgrounds, adventuring. And then The World of Midnight is like geographics. One of the things I thought was pretty interesting, I'm pretty sure, is it talks about like, hey, it describes the land. So it's like, here are the mountains in the west, and they go all the way from here to here, and they're approximately 2,000 miles long and span a huge region. It's made up of these, races or what have you. There's no map. Oh, no, there is a map. There is a map in here, but it's like in the middle, it's somewhere in the book, kind of in a weird spot. Because I'm like, what? Did they not put a map in here? And they did. I stand corrected because I was paging through it. I'm like, oh, here's the map. Here's the map, which you can get online for free. If you go to, Edge Studios website. As a matter of fact, the map from the website's better, I think, than the map that's in here. It's the same map, but I think the way it's put in the book, it's just, I don't know. It's a little weirder to read. I'm not a big fan of the map itself. I like the map in the 2nd edition book better. I'm sure you can find different maps. Hey, Joe. Yeah, no monks. No monks. I think monks are, like they said, they're kind of like a mysterious bunch, but they don't typically keep them as a character. They're not a character class. I think they even stipulated that before the book was out. So I think a lot of it is a lot of flavor, right? It's about the lands, the different ethnicities, the magic piece, some of the lore, and then the heroic paths. Because there's not it's like 5th edition. Great. Pick a heroic path. Oh, I'm 4th level now. I get another feat. Great. Pick yours. Otherwise, it's probably pretty much 5th edition D&D. So somebody's going to be like, well, how do you heal if there's no clerics? I'm sure it goes into that too. Like if it's like medicine type healing, things of that nature probably help. Don't know how long rests, short rests work. Maybe it's the same, but there's maybe tweaks. But we'll see. I got to go through it. I got to read it. It's a lot of stuff. And so here's the thing, right? So since I had this like store credit, they're like, well, they don't give you change, right? Like if you have a store credit of $60 and the book costs you, $50, they don't keep the 10 on my account. So I'm like, well, I don't want to lose anything on the deal. So I went to the RPG section, tried to find what I thought would be one of the better buys for me. And so I picked up the Alien RPG box set. So there wasn't a ton of Free League on the shelf. And I think what they had for Free League, I already owned. I think it was like Tales from the Loop,
Alien core book. I think that was it. And there was a ton of D&D and 5th edition. I'm like, nah, I don't want any of those stuff. I don't want any of that stuff. So picked up this one. Yeah. So I'm, and this adventure is pretty good. I'm interested in doing this because I think I have the follow-up adventure to this. And this might come in handy for con games, right? So there you go. I gotta stop by. My lack of employment does not, my huge unemployment checks are not going to be putting them towards role-playing games is not the wisest move. Yeah, you should get your full credit. I don't know. Maybe it's the guy behind the counter. It's not a big deal. The other thing, oh geez. The other thing, I'm on a tear, and I got freaking Kickstarters coming my way, man. The other thing I got is Band of Blades. I can't buy any more new stuff. It's just like no more. I can't go in any more game stores until I get a job. So, happened to be in one, caught my eye, was the only thing that really interested me on the shelf. Grabbed it. The reason I bought Band of Blades, I had Blades in the Dark. I read part of it. The Kickstarter had gone quite a long time. And I wasn't playing it, hadn't played it. So I unloaded it. But Scum and Villainy and then even ultimately Band of Blades piqued my curiosity because of what I had heard about Band of Blades. And this was even before Strauss's interview with Craig Shipman. So Strauss is one of the people listed on the cover for creating it. Strauss was involved in this and Scum and Villainy. But it's like a set. I don't know much about it. A couple people have mentioned like, oh, that's the beauty of it. This is what happens. But it's a very contained black company. You're in retreat. You're in full retreat after a battle, and the evil forces are still in pursuit. And so you're running away. You play different characters. Right? So you don't create a character and that's your character and you play them all the time. Like if it changes to a different scene, you play different characters. I think they rotate. So there's a mechanism behind it. And some of you that are like, I played it, it's awesome. I'm probably butchering the crap out of it, so I apologize. But the premise of the game is something that appealed to me. There's a theme in the games that I am finding appreciation for, which is like make it challenging for the player characters. I'm not interested in playing, all roses and unicorn farts. So Band of Blades, I picked up. It's dense, man. It's dense. But we'll see. You got to make it to Skydagger Keep. You're a group of legionnaires. So it's kind of a contained, like set amount of sessions, and you either succeed or you don't, and you lose a bunch of people. The thing about Strauss, if you haven't listened to the interview, God, I'm really getting tired of plugging this guy's podcast. If you listen to Third Floor Wars interview Strauss, Craig interviews him. There was a snippet I put out on Twitter where Strauss was talking about people picking up Band of Blades and saying, yeah, it's a great game. The only problem is we got a lot of characters that die. And my players aren't really jamming on that. They don't like that piece. So do you think we could just not do that? And Strauss was, hey, I think Strauss's words were literally like, hey, that's okay. Yeah, sure you can. Sorry, but then you're not playing that game, which is kind of a mantra. I don't know about a mantra, but it's a thing that it's kind of like playing Forbidden Lands, but hand waving the journey. Yeah, I like the game and the exploration piece, but I just wanted my characters to get to the keep, and I don't want them to roll for food or water and go through the 4 quarters. Like, oh, that's kind of tedious crap. So I just want to fast forward and get them to the keep so they can go in the dungeon and find the treasure, blah. Sure, can you do it? Yeah, but then you're really not playing Forbidden Lands. Right? So it's kind of like the tone, the spirit, and then the mechanics and what you do. Like, what do I do in this game? And if you're, or what happens, and you change a lot of that, then it changes kind of what the intention of the game is. So there you go. I don't know. Today is commentary by Sean. Let's get into some things, shall we? Shall we? That is showing nothing on the screen, so please bear with me as I select the right source. Crowdfunding news. Lots of 6-7 figure Kickstarters going on. Thanks for Ian World for putting this out. Check them out at ianworld.org. First one, Bloodpunk 5e. You guys get this? Look at this thing. Slipcase. Victorian setting and a dark adventure for 5e. From Dream Realm. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Dream Realm Storytellers. Looks like most popular pledge, £68. So these folks must be based out of the UK. Bad assumption, but I'm just going to go with it. Pretty. Looks pretty. Bloodpunk. So what do you say, Bloodpunk? Blood powers, in this world, blood powers, trains, zeppelins, many weapons, and factories as everything cyberpunk/steampunk is made bloodpunk. It's a subversive setting. Look at this. So, not bad. 7,700 pound goal. They're at 129,000. So yeah, only 1,600% over. Pretty good. Aurora. Age of Desolation. Ghostfire Gaming. Ghostfire Gaming. Is Merwin part of this? Somebody I know is a part of this company, I think. Age of Desolation. Age of Desolation for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. It's a source book at $55, shipping and handling for the PDF and hardcover. Here we go. In this world, it's the Age of Desolation, a time when natural and magical environmental catastrophes endanger the world. Aurora provides a new environment and exploration rules to make exploring the core of these adventures. It's at 1,500% funded. Merwin is. Thanks, Larry. Thought so. Merwin does good stuff. So there you go, Aurora. Everyday Heroes brought this up a few times. This is the 5th edition version of D20 Modern. In a world. What's up, Harrigan? Just got done going through Midnight a little bit. Everyday Heroes is going bonkers. So they have a lot of IPs. They've got Pacific Rim, King Kong, Highlander, The Crow, Total Recall, Rambo. couple others. Escape from New York. Like, they're biting off a lot. Universal Soldier. So they needed 15K. They're at over $250,000. Yeah, good for them. 2 weeks to go. Another one we talked about. This is the Dark Tower. Got another update on these folks at who did the original? Judges Guild. There you go, another one coming. You won't be disappointed, Harrigan, with Midnight. If you're looking for something new, there's probably not a lot there that's new. But if you're looking for just a really nice book and to have all the similar stuff from previous editions, you'll be happy. My PDF code does not work, by the way. I'm a little perturbed at that. Anyways, so Dark Tower, 3,600% of goal. Monsters of the Feyland, 5th edition by Kaywood Publishing. 140 to 160 pages featuring 5e monsters. Monsters that speak to me. The book has a unifying narrative, creatures from 7 regions, encounter tables, event tables. There you go. That one may make it. It's got a week to go and is 7K short. Good luck to those guys. Household. Get ready for the biggest adventure in the world's smallest RPG. Ends June 1st. This is on the verge of wrapping up. $150. 3 books, slipcase, GM screen, die, figure, and more. I don't think I covered this before. In this game, you play as littlings, fairies, bogarts, sloths, and sprites. Each group lives in a large abandoned Regency-era mansion, having to coexist in content with the estate's history. Instead of a wider world, this is the world of the house and all of its history, some of which the littlings crafted. From the Emmy-nominated authors of Broken Compass. Household won Role-Playing Game of the Year 2019 in Italy. 1,200%. Cool. Broken Compass is getting a little buzz. A few people are talking about it and have gotten their Kickstarter arrivals. It's a very Indiana Jones kind of inspired role-playing game. Reign of Discordia. 5th edition / White Star from Rogue Genius Games. Interesting. So this must be Owen K.C. Stevens is involved in this. He's Rogue Genius Games, I think, right? It's also written for Ian World. They put in a disclaimer so people know. Was a true 20 RPG that is returning as a White Star OSR game and for the 5e rule set. So there's talks on our Discord about science fiction games. And so this might be something that appeals to some of the folks there. I don't think they've come across it. And it's 5e or White Star. I don't know if people, I don't even know if people have mentioned White Star in to replace Traveler or something else. 3 weeks, pretty minimal goal, but they got an uphill battle. They had $2,300 and they went on to hit 8,500. So we'll see. And then a good book for bad GMs. Probably should get this. Do you need GM advice from a gamer, creator, and publisher that has over 40 years of experience? Points? You're looking for useful advice on how to deal with difficult players, how to respect what players and the GM are bringing to the game, and how to reduce your workload as a GM. Jim Pinto is likely to offer you funny, real-world advice that will improve any game, which is that a long sentence. If you want over 100 pages of content delivered post-campaign in previews 3 times a week for review and comment, then compiled with notes at the end, this project will be a winner for you. Holy cow. $1,000, $1,000 funding level, and he's at 24,000. Good on him. Good on him. It's awesome. I don't know if I get in on that. I'd be interested in read it. See what kind of tips and tricks are in there. It depends. Some GMs with 40 years of experience are awful. Yeah, and I just wonder, $19 for PDF, so it's not hard copy. But I'm in. It's like, what little treasures, are included in that game. And I still think, that there is, you could read all the books about game mastering, but I still think there is I'm going to release it probably after this weekend. GM Mastermind recorded an episode. Harrigan was on there. Mirko was on there. Angela Murray. And one of the things we did mention, spoilers, is playing more, game mastering more. Like is like, how about starting there? Especially for new game masters, obviously. Those of us that have been doing it for a little while may not be apropos, but if anybody getting started, like, well, how do I get to be a better game master? I don't know. First, do it, and then do it more. And then get into all the other stuff. So, but talking about things like, prep and all this, hopefully we'll cover it, but I don't, maybe there's some stuff that, maybe I should reach out to him, get him on the show and say, hey, what you got this book out. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of blogs out there. What's your book deliver that some of these don't? Charcon! Looks like a gaming convention doing a Kickstarter. Funding successful. So I think that's it for the funding stuff. If you want to get in on any of those. So one of the things I mentioned was the Goodman Games Judges Guild. I don't know if you guys know about this one. Caverns of Thracia, which is like Greek inspired. I never knew about this one growing up. Dark Tower, yes. This one, not so much. City State of the Invincible Overlord, yes. But not this one. So, yeah. Have you guys ever played this, seen it, owned it, growing up, and thinking about getting into it? Steeped in Greek mythology, Caverns of Thracia pits several factions against each other with the PCs caught in the middle. Modules set among an intricate dungeon and lost city that were once the haven of lizard folk before it was taken over by evil cultists. Jacquet's use of factions and flexibility in running such a complex adventure has even garnered the nickname of his Jacquang a dungeon. So there was some hullabaloo around Judges Guild because one of the owners, I think, had passed. The inheritors of the family are not nice people. And so, but Janelle Jacques, yeah, this book will be a fully updated homage to the Caverns of Thracia, crafted by Janelle Jacques, and originally published in Judges Guild in 1979. So they're partnering up to get it out there. And Janelle's good people, but apparently, like, so it's whatever they worked out, great. My understanding is the not so nice people part of Judges Guild are not getting any revenue from it. So there's that. What else we got in here today? What else do we have here this day? Kind of picking and choosing. You guys see the Vecna? $250 bones. 2 foot? Is this 2 feet? 12 inches. 12 foot, 1 foot tall statue of Vecna. Vecna is one of the most powerful liches from D&D lore that became a deity. There you go. If you got some change lying around, might look cool on your gaming table. Be nice to whip it out on the gaming table. Plunk. So that's coming out. There's some other ones, like I think a Black Dragon is coming too. Dark Souls, any Dark Souls fans? Dark Souls, the replacement's coming out. Apparently there's a big mess with this thing. I don't know. Like, what is all this ads? What is all this garbage? Oh, man. Let's see if I can just get to the article. Here it is. I don't know if it was laid out like garbage or what. They had it on D&D Beyond thing with Perkins the other day. Well, the Vecna. Anyways, Dark Souls, I heard through the grapevine, people were pretty stoked about getting it, and then they got it, and they were like, what is up with this thing? So I don't know if they rushed it or what. But anyways, they're doing a replacement. Been working extremely hard to ensure the updated PDF will be with you soon. We'll be releasing the updated PDF at the end of June and immediately sending it to everyone that had pre-ordered the book through our website. So maybe they got the PDF and it was out, and people looked at the PDF and was like, what? And then they're redoing. Then it says, if you purchase the book via third-party retailer, you will be able to receive a copy of the PDF via Bits and Mortar. Okay, at the end of June. Yeah, I don't know. Dark Souls. Just putting it out there in case you're wondering what that's all about. Hey, I don't know if you get the memo. Drive-thru had a security breach. So if you haven't changed your password, you might want to do They say no accounts were really compromised. The team confirmed that no private data was compromised. I think somebody went in and started changing prices. Like, they have identified the method used to modify price points in the database and released a fix to prevent it. So I changed mine just in case. And, you know, with, was it Graham Leach Bailey and a few others, like California laws, if it hits a certain threshold, they have to report it. We never got an email as far as I know. Maybe I did. I'd have to double check. They sent out an email. Sometimes I have my drive-through emails filtered, so you could have got an email about this. But they mentioned the details pretty much. third party was able to set prices on titles that they were not authorized to modify, and they set the prices of many titles on site to free, which led to some customers placing orders for free titles that were not meant to be free. Oops. In the information security realm, it's not if, it's when. So what do you do when it does happen? So, well, good that was the limit. That was good, right? Great. That's a good thing. I mean, not completely terrible. Batman. You guys know Batman was having an RPG? Batman! 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 Season 3 and RPG. So the goal was $214,000, $214,642. Not $214,600. Not $215,000. $214,642.35. Batman! Batman! Jason, hackers went to the effort and risk of breaking into drive-thru just to change prices. Hope your $1.99 told us was worth it. Hey-o, hey-o. Sure sounds like a long way to go for some free PDFs. Suspect there's more to the story. We'll see. I wonder if it was an internal job. It could have been somebody that left and they didn't deprovision them correctly. Oops. So this one is way funded. It's got 13 days to go. Almost 6,000 backers. Almost $1 million. They're at almost $900,000. So if you want to play Batman, will you play the hero or the villain? This is by Monolith. And I think they're French, and they did something else. Ooh, what else did they do? I cannot remember. This role-playing game will enable you to play a whole range of famous and unknown characters from the comics, films, series, or your own imagination. Whether you and your friends choose an atmosphere of action, investigation, adventure, or suspense, Gotham City will be waiting with its avenues, skyscrapers, and subterranean tunnels, criminal world, secrets, magic, and incomparable ambience, which is the result of 80 years of creation since The Dark Knight first appeared. This is all one sentence. Wow. You can enjoy this playthrough and tutorial in the media and actual play section below. Batman. I'm Batman. The Batman Family. Core book, Gotham City Guide Adventures book. Looks fantastic. I don't know the artist. I don't know comic book artists that saved my life. Miller maybe, but that's about it. So, yeah. There you go. And I can't remember. I thought it was D20, like a modified D20 mechanic pace. Where did I see that? Is it here? I can't remember. It's this is the page without CSS and stuff in it. But shoot, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. Everybody likes the big polyhedron. Shoot. Anyways, there you go. If you're a Batman fan, Batman. Probably want to get in on that. Get in on it, yeah. Dragonlance! they've released some opening pages of Dragons of Deceit, the first new Dragonlance novel in more than a decade. Had me all the way up until it said time travel. Yeah. They outline like the three main characters. And I think Tracy Hickman showed off the hardback cover sleeve unfolded so you could read the back of it. So its main character, Destina, get it? Destina Rosethorn, comes from a noble lineage that makes its home far to the north in the land of Solamnia, soon to be the front lines in the coming War of the Lance. The wonderful thing is, I think, about the Rose Thorns is that they represent a completely different view of this war and that they are right in the middle of it. This isn't something that's happening in a very distant place. This is their home. This is their life. So apparently, Destina here will not be alone on her journey. Stands probably in the center of the frame. There was talks about here it is. The synopsis was released several weeks ago. Fans of the original, okay, blah, blah, blah. Will no doubt recognize the device of time journeying, which played a central role in the Dragonlance legends. So I think on the book, it was essentially like she needs to do something, but in order to fix it, she's got to get the item, the device of time journeying, which is known to be in Tasselhoff's possession. So I imagine the first book will be tracking that down, and then the second one will be like using it, and then the last book will probably be like fixing whatever it gets screwed up. Just spitballing here. So there you go, Dragonlance. Yeah, and it's got like the audio and I think some text you can read. Like there's a little bit. All new map of Anslon. Interesting. I think this is the preview, some of the preview here. So anyways, there you go. It's coming. If you're a Dragonlance fan, you're going to be goo gaga over this. I don't know, man. I was kind of interested in maybe getting it and reading it or listening to the audiobook. I don't know. That goal's an inside joke. I don't know, Dorigo. Is it? Maybe that's what it is for Batman. So Dragonlance. If you have no interest in Dragonlance, well, then this does not matter to you. And I was just scrolling through. Let's see. Delays on WotC's shipping of stuff. So if you're waiting for some of the new books, affected Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel has moved to July 19th. I think it was originally supposed to come out this month in June. Campaign Case Terrain moved to August. I think it's all been a month moved. And then unaffected is the Campaign Case Creatures, as well as Spelljammer. Spelljammer! Who's psyched about Spelljammer? I need to know so I can ban you from this channel. I'm kidding. Hey, if you're jamming on the spells, good on you. It is not for me. I am not their target audience. So yeah, there you go. If you're living under a rock or not keeping up to date with some of the Wizards stuff. What's this? What is this? Collect sea shanties in a sailor-themed tabletop role-playing game. What? Heyo, and off they roleplay. Thanks to Dicebreaker for putting this out there. Sail the oceans to gather sea shanties in this tabletop role-playing game about 19th century sailors. inspired by the golden era of nautical history and traditional methods of sailing. Taking place at the end of the 1800s, Shanty Hunters sees players becoming sailors and scholars who are passionate about commercial sailing and want to keep the traditions alive through the art of the sea shanty. Interesting. Rules Light role-playing system features 17 shanties to find with 20 ports to dock at and 6 pre-gen characters to choose from. I think if you play this game, you have to sing like a pirate song. I think that should be part of it. Players and Game Master will be using the Gumshoe gameplay system to play, which is also used in the horror tabletop role-playing game Trail of Cthulhu. Wow. Oh, interesting. Gumshoe, yeah. It's created by Tristan Zimmerman. No, it's not. Oh, no, I don't know Tristan. Who has been behind Archive, Historical People, Places, and Events for RPGs and Making History 3.1 Session RPGs, a collection of playable storylines themed around different historical time periods. So it was kickstarted in December 2021. The digital PDF version of Shanty Hunters is available to download from drive-thru. Yo, 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 and a bottle of rum. I don't know anything else. Jason Spelljammer Monster Book will include, quote, astral elves, cosmic horrors, lunar and solar dragons, murder comets, and space clowns. You say murder comets? Well, you had me at space clowns, man. Space clowns? How do I play Space Clown? Space Clown. Not to be mistaken for Space Pants. Oh, man, I tell you. Here's a good one. Here you go. Take this one. This one I liked. Not that I didn't like the other ones, but here you go. D100, why is the door stuck? All right, somebody give me a D100 roll. Chop, chop. Stat. You're all gamers. You are probably sitting maybe at a computer. If you're not and you're on a mobile device, you get a pass. 49. Thank you, Wayne. 49. Where's the table, Sean? No. D4 caltrops. Where is it? Here it is. 49. Mismatched set of hinges. Swinging different ways. That's why the door's stuck. Doors are so often stubbornly stuck in dungeons. What is it about these places that makes it so hard to hire a decent door maker? Having tried to hang a door exactly once in my life and making a major mess of it, I suppose I sympathize. What's up, Hoos? Hoos, give me a D100 roll. Your door's stuck. I gotta find out why. It's the moisture. They swell. Probably. It's probably one of them. Let's see if I can pull it out here. Oh, it's PDF. Here we go. Here we go again. Who's sitting around? Where's my D100, man? Sealed with a thick coat of dense crimson wax. 83 says, stuck in place. Skeleton key just simply refuses to turn. Just refuses. The key refuses to turn. It's not going to. You've talked to the key. You've coaxed it. You've rolled your diplomacy check. The skeleton key will just not turn. It decides not to. It refuses. Blatantly stares you in the eye and refuses. Inconveniently placed wall of force, fizzing and flickering as it runs out. Goopy blue ichor, bubbling up from below, has dried in splatters. It's interesting how they put this together where some words are capitalized and some are not in the statement. Like, dwarf will tell you it's all in the slopes and shoddy craftsmanship. Seemingly mummified, both sides tightly wrapped in fragrant linens. There you go. There you go. You know, if you say something like, seemingly mummified, characters are going to go into, oh, it's undead. It's an undead door. Or they're going to think there's undead around. And it means nothing, right? It's freaking linen wrapped around the doors. I don't know. Dreadful anti-termites leave extra wood in their wake. Druid's dying wish made wood from her forest especially ornery. Requires a skeleton. Key. All right, well, there you go. Because it's stuck. Why? Oh, let me pull up my sheet. Give me a percentile roll. Doshgone it. Thirsty Sore Lesbians becomes the first RPG to win a Nebula Award. What? Congratulations to them. 2 years ago, Nebula was introduced a category for game writing, and this year a tabletop RPG took home the prize. So congrats to them. I thought... No. I thought Spivey won, but it must not have been the Nebula Award. I know he won for Harlem Unbound, or got inducted into like maybe a literary library of some kind, I think. So congratulations to them for doing that. I think they have an actual supplement coming out. I have not played this game. Thirsty Sword Lesbians. That is such a rockin' title, right? Yes. Yeah, May 21st, 2022, the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America is pleased to announce the winners of the 57th Annual Nebula Awards for game writing. So there you go. Shout out to those guys or gals. Say guys generically. Probably, you know. There you go. Beginner Tabletop RPG Quest. Dicebreaker. Only emotional investment required. Beginner-friendly tabletop role-playing game. Now available. Download and play for free. From the Adventure Guild website. No cost. It's published in 2019, designed to help players of all role-playing game experience levels to learn and play easily. An accessible RPG with a clean layout, easy to understand rules. Quest takes place in an undefined world, with the only clues to world building being found in game's various item descriptions, and a free online publication called the Albatross Press. Rules light. Players create the characters using a single sheet containing a series of questions about their history and how they present themselves. It would be interesting to run this for kids, like little kids. See what they come up with, because it's just questions and answers, right? Players also choose from a selection of roles when making their characters, including a conventional fighter and more unusual spy. Take a collection of different abilities. Whenever a player character meets resistance or attempts to use one of their abilities, they roll a single d20 and attempt to roll over 11. Look at that. Roll this die, Junior. Little Sarah, what'd you get? 12. Awesome. If you roll between a 6 and a 10, then the guide, otherwise known as the Game Master, will give the player a choice. Between two setbacks they can select in order to succeed at the task they were attempting. Ooh. I see. It's like D20 PBTA. Look at that. Cool. Cool. I didn't know the TC Sotek, an executive editor at The Verge, did this. There's a sci-fi version of Quest called Cosmic Fantasy Edition. Is this old? This isn't old, is it? Did I just... No, May 24th. Okay, cool. There you go. Pretty simple. Is it one of the best first RPGs? Nice. I imagine you own it then, sir. Hey, see ya, Jason. Have a good weekend. I think that is it. Those are all the things that I needed to cover, or I came across. That was it. I don't see anything else new. I mean, there's other stuff out there, I'm sure, but I pick and choose. That's why you got to get your news from different sources. Huh. Top notch. Okay, cool, man. Cool. Yeah, it would be fun to... Would be a good game to run for beginners. I wonder how... If you use that for, like, corporate training, right? For role-playing games. Not D&D, but you use that. I don't know. It's obviously very collaborative. It says it. It says so. But, I just don't know if you used 5th edition for like corporate training team events, if it would be the way to go. So it might have to be on my radar in case I go that route. Speaking of which, I have for GM Mastermind 2 individuals that are professional game masters that are going to be on that podcast. We're recording June 5th. Hopefully they will both be able to make it. They're both committed to the 5th, but, real life happens. So hopefully we'll get that done and recorded. Nikki and, is it Don? Don goes by Don. And I found Don on Twitter. I think I might have mentioned this last week, where he was just like, hey, I'm a professional game master. Ask me anything. People were like, well, how much you get paid and how do you do it and what do you run? And so he was very open, and I'm like, hey man, I want to talk to you about this. And so we're going to get some insight from Don. Nikki is also doing professional role-playing games after working in corporate America, and said, I'm done with the corporate shake. So she is doing that. And she also is involved with a company that does some of these corporate team building things through role-playing games. So we're going to talk to both of them and hash that out. Like, why is some of the things I'm interested in asking them is, why do you think some role-playing gamers are poo-pooing the professional take on game mastering? What does it take to be a professional game master? Can you make a feasible living off of it? Are you doing it all remote, or what systems do you use? What are the bigger hangups that you find in professional game mastering? So one of the tweets I also saw on Twitter was, if you could become a professional game master working like 40 hours a week as a full-time job, would you do it? And some people were like, no way, man. Or it was, sure, if it's like all inclusive, right? Like prep and running the sessions are all included in those 40 hours. Because I think what some people realized, and some people did chime in, yeah, it's great until I realize I'm running 40 hours worth of games and doing 20 hours worth of prep. So, and then you take my session pay. And if you divide it by 40, not a big deal. You divide it by 60, and then you're barely making minimum wage. So I don't know. I am going to put out, I put it on YouTube. No, not yet, Maddie. Here's the reason why. Okay, let me back up. Potentially, I will put it on YouTube. And I say potentially because why we record, I do record the video, but it doesn't have an overlay. It doesn't look fancy. But I don't want to stream it for sure because I don't want guests to get nervous because it's streamed. That would be the only reason I don't stream it. I also want to make sure they're comfortable that I am able to put out the video. So right now I got to get some formalized pieces in place to make sure that, hey, you're coming on an audio podcast. Okay, cool. Oh, by the way, we want to put this out in video. Oh, I don't want my face out there or, whatever. That might be a problem. So we'll see. So right now, as it stands, the answer is no. Could that change? Possibly. Plus, I think, some people digest it via YouTube. I would like to. It's just not. It'd be one more step, and it wouldn't be that big a deal. But I also want to have people be comfortable with that. 40 hours of game prep and running would be draining. Totally, right? And I just described most teachers in this country for sure. What's up, Orcus Dorcas? Yeah. Check out the Titter Pigs. There you go, Orcus. Their podcast. Yeah. But you know what? Teachers, I think, have a more honorable duty. Duty? I said duty. But more honorable job. No offense, game masters. But they are shaping the minds of children everywhere, and should have utmost respect from this guy. Yeah, Michael. PaizoCon weekend it is. Oh, I didn't realize it was on Memorial Day weekend. I heard Demon Grinder, friend of the show, friend that doesn't live far from me, mentioned that Param, I don't know if you guys keep up with No Direction, the podcast that's been going on for ages. Param's stepping down. It used to be 3.5 Private Sanctuary, which I used to listen to with Jay and Ryan Costello. Love the show. Then they picked up Pathfinder because it went to Pathfinder. So it was like a very interesting journey. And Ryan Costello has been involved with the G.I. Joe RPG. He's a big G.I. Joe guy. I don't know if he's still involved. He was on the episode where Param announced he was stepping down. And I know they have a couple more co-hosts, but I've lost touch with them. Apparently, it's a big, it's been, God, I think they've been around for 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. So, a little bit. And I bring that up because of PaizoCon. They were mentioning PaizoCon. And so Param, a.k.a. Jefferson J. Thacker, I think is his name. So, anyways. Yep, happy for Param, but sad. He's had a great run and has built an awesome network of content creators. Yeah. Yeah, and apparently that's what he's going into. Like, he's had the opportunity during the pandemic to do some, video editing and stuff like that. And so he's, I guess, making a move in that direction. I haven't listened to the whole piece of where he's talking. And somebody mentioned, like, he might need some, like, he's got some ideas that he wants to put out there. I don't know. And I hadn't gotten to that point in the video, if he elaborated or not. But anyways, yeah. Yep. There you go. So I got some stuff to read. Played Forbidden Lands last night. Harrigan ran. Our journey is on the water. Doing well so far. Kind of a cliffhanger because we stopped at a tower we saw that probably, oversaw the entrance and exit of a particular waterway. And so we go in the tower and there's something in there. So probably think it's a harpy that attacked us a few miles down the road. We'll see. Going to the Bitter Reach. Slowly but surely. K-Rise, morning. And then Delta Green, I'm going to try to kick off, though I think, it's going to be, mileage may vary only because of holidays and travel for some of the folks that are looking to play. I wanted to run Impossible Landscapes. That might be a little bit of a stretch. But the first chapter, which is Night Floors, I want to run. And if it goes great. And we continue to play, awesome. It's not as long. I think it's 16 to 20 hours. I asked a couple of APs, like, hey, how long did it take you to get through these? 16 to 20 hours of gameplay. So that would be every other week, Delta Green. But we're meeting on Tuesday with a couple people. I think two out of the 4 are out of town. So we'll see. Might be a bumpy start on that one. Brightly colored hair and piercings in D&D. Sweet. Kind of like, so your harpies are like punk rockers from like the 70s. Be awesome. The Sex Pistols, known as the Harpies. Obi-Wan. If you haven't watched Obi-Wan, I watched the first 2 episodes yesterday morning. I had some time. I liked it. I liked it. I don't know. You may not. No spoilers in the chat, please. But if you'd like, Discord, I created a spoiler thread so people can head over to gamingandbs.com. Well, I think How to RPG. I do not have a redirect for this one. You can go to gmmastermind.com/Discord and join our Discord there. Always good conversation. We got a pretty active Discord. Like if you're tired of going to Discord servers and nothing going on, BS Landia is good conversations about all kinds of stuff. We have a foodie channel if you're a foodie, but a lot of game stuff too. But so there's a spoiler thread for Obi-Wan. I liked it. I've not watched Stranger Things yet. That's on my to-do. Discord invite in the chat. Fine, Maddie. Let's see. This should get you there. If it doesn't, let me know. Excited about Andor. Maybe even more so than Kenobi. Because of the type of Star Wars. Rogue One, man. It's supposed to be a big kind of a spy thriller kind of thing. Yeah. There was an AMC TV show I wanted to look at, but I don't subscribe to it, so I can't watch it. It sucks. Cool, thanks, Maddie. Was it the Ipcris one I mentioned a few weeks ago? It's based on the book, and then Michael Caine did a movie. I've not watched the YouTube Star Wars Celebration. Ty. Hey, Ty. Morning. I've not seen it. I wonder if my buddy went to Star Wars Celebration this year. Should hit him up. My buddy Jeff plays Darth Vader in the 501st. I know he's been to 1 or 2 Star Wars celebrations. I don't know if he's gone to the one this past weekend. Or this past week. I think what I want to do, put it on my to-do list, amongst other things, is do a video comparing Death in Space, Alien, and Mothership. I think that if I do it right, I should probably get a pretty decent traction. Because that's the thing, man. What's up with and then throw in, what else is there? And I think those are the top 3, maybe. like alien horror sci-fi RPGs things. You're right. Like people don't know what my mothership's gotten. I mean, I just did a combat sequence video on this channel. You can check that out. And it's gotten a little bit of traction. It's not blowing things off the lid, but I think even Craig Shipman said like his actual play, my combat video, and like one other one got like are the top. You put in Mothership RPG in YouTube, and I think those three come up. Corios, does it? I don't want to lump that in there. But that's the thing, right? Because what is the difference between them all? Why would I want to play Death in Space over Mothership? Why would I want to play Mothership over Alien? Because they all offer something a little bit different. It's the same genre, but I think those are the core three. You can do some other things, sure. Those dark places, maybe, yeah. Yeah. Is it okay? Is it me? Am I out of the loop? Orcus? Like, is those dark places more popular than Death in Space or Mothership? I just think those are the three, the big ones, because they've been around. Death in Space is the newest, right? Industrial space horror, yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? What's the difference? Well, in this one, you fight the alien, and these other ones can be almost anything. Well, Death in Space, yeah. So Death in Space, Michael, is from Stockholm Cartel. Same couple, at least one individual from the Morkborg area. I got it behind me. I don't want to break it out, but it's because it's all black. Like all the pages are black. But it's very much in the spirit of Morkborg and tables, and so, you know, even more so than Mothership. Yeah, I wouldn't do Coriolis. Yeah. So I mean, you can look at least Death in Space and more and Mothership and see different. There's some similarities, like even the adventures. Like, right? So here is a Death in Space adventure brochure. Like almost every, probably 75% of the Mothership adventures are similar to this, right? Open it up, it's keyed. Sometimes there's a map. This one does not have one. And the map is like literally, like a flow chart. So it gives you the background, the crew, and then the different areas: maintenance shaft, empty observation room, airlock. One pager. Here's another one. This is so much glare from light. Katali 11. Scenario summary. Katali Station, keyed areas. So you can see the map in this one. Maybe not. Right there. Almost on the spine. That's what the map looks like. So, I mean, small form, quick details. And the thing is with even, I should probably do another, like a show of GM Mastermind on these types of adventures. Like, okay, tell me. Hold on. right? Tomb of Annihilation, right? Granted, this is a campaign, levels 1 through 11, okay? 100 and we got a map in there, super awesome, about 230, 240 pages. One page, back and front. So my point is, obviously the comparison, but my point is, and I understand this is multiple adventures, like this one is, months, maybe even a year or two. This is kind of a one-shotter, right? But the difference between even running that for one session and this, like, is there a difference? Is there the amount of info that you need to digest as a game master from that to this? How does that change how you game master? Because like Ypsilon 14, I think a pound of flesh is a little bit bigger. That's a zine kind of thing. But yeah, there's quite a few of these. So as a game master, how do you navigate this? Because it may be kind of sparse. But you would be surprised, and I know some of you, I'm preaching to the choir, but you might be surprised at how little you need to just put in front of the players to have a good time. I think, there was somebody on Twitter like, how do you guys keep excited and enthusiastic when you get all this prep and, and how do you keep the ideas fresh? And it's like, well, you might be doing too much. Maybe you just need to let go. Like, just let go. I mentioned this before. Get on the roller coaster and just be like, let go of the bar. See what happens. Yeah, so this is Death in Space. I have the limited edition. So you might see one like with the silver kind of, it reminds me of the Japanese, not the flag, but there's kind of the rising sun because it's got the silver. Oh, for Pete's sakes, why do I just not? I've got the power of the internet, man. I'll just show you for folks that haven't seen it. I know you guys, some of you own it, but right. So this is the Death in Space. So I say that I don't know if this is going to blow up or not. Nope. Let's go bigger. Put a new tab maybe. Not so much bigger, but you see what I'm referring to. Whoop. But yeah, it's a lot of tables in here. Very brief chapters on certain things. So it's got, I haven't seen the new mothership, but obviously this, as far as density wise, probably has a little bit more, definitely has more setting related info than mothership. And then Alien, of course, is even more dense. And that has two modes of play. So, but I think that would be good to do. See you, Wayne. Have a good weekend. What if he doesn't come back? Come on, I should be just like, Top Gun. Get him, Mav. I haven't watched Black Hole in ages. Ran Ypsilon 14 about 8 times now, and everyone has been completely different. It's like the perfect one-shot game. Yeah. Yep. So I think I have to do that. Put it down. Mechanics-wise, setting, what they're going after. But as soon as I do that, then Mothership comes out and they elaborate more on the setting and the monsters or whatever, and so be it. But it can't get too much. I'll end up being on there for like an hour talking about these games. So I got to keep it pretty succinct. I like that one. Oh, but that's about it, man. I don't have much else to really elaborate on. We're recording Monday night, Gaming and BS, episode 280. What am we, 283? Is it? Don't even know. I don't even know. 382, not 2. 382, recording Monday at gamingandbs.com/YouTube. If you want to be there, 8 p.m. Central Time, U.S., where Brett and I are talking about lying, deceit. And then we'll be down to 2 more episodes. Then we're done. Just kidding. No, we're done. Yep. We're going to do an AMA on the last one, episode 384, recording June 27th. Going to have the chat wide open. Did Brett get a bear yet? I don't know, John. That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't looked at his Instagram, and usually when he goes on the hunt, he usually posts on his Instagram with his goofy garb on and everything, but I haven't seen anything, so I don't know. Hopefully he's still in. I'm not on Facebook, which is where I think Brett does some of his personal stuff. I have a private channel to him. He hasn't posted anything there between myself and a couple others, so no idea. I think it was last weekend. Like, I don't think it was this weekend. I think he's back, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he comes back this weekend. I don't know. I know on the 23rd he was like, I'm out bear hunting. Okay. So I'm not sure. Beer yet? Missed got a typo there, Hoos. No, I don't. Oh, I've heard Death in Space. I thought I posted it in there, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll be in one piece. I hope he got one, I guess. I hate for him to travel up there and do all the stuff that he was doing only to come back empty-handed, but maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So we'll record Monday night. The second to the last show, I don't think we have locked up yet. I think it's going to be one of those. I think it might be the second to last show will be he and I talking about what we've learned in the past 7 years, how we might have changed kind of our thinking, and some of those details. So it might be just be the 383 might be the reflective episode. Looking back, I think it'd probably be, maybe we don't have an hour show there. I don't know. Yeah. So it's good. We have like, I usually don't say how many questions we have for the AMA, but I don't know if it'll hurt. We got over 100 questions AMA. I brought it up to somebody, I think Mirko brought it up. He's like, well, if you answer every single one, it's going to take you at least 4 hours. Or if it takes you 4 minutes per or whatever, I don't know. I think it was more than that because we have more questions. Anyways, but a lot of them overlap because a lot of people can't see what others have probably submitted. So I'm going to group them and we'll probably answer like 3 or 4 at a time. We got more than 100, Victor. We've got more than 100. I can tell you in a second. And by the way, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Line in the weeds, Victor is. Let me see. We have. Here we go. 120. Now I haven't said anything about it in 2 weeks. So if I put it out there again, we might get a little bit more. So I just have to lump. I should even number like 400. Yeah, well, you know what, Ty? The beauty of the internet is we can just label it episode 400. And by the way, if you count all the bonus BS episodes, we're over 400. So there you go. It's just a number, Ty. It's a 4 with 0, but it's like money and worth. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to the episode, not looking forward to pushing the end button. So, did you submit any, Victor? I don't know if you did you? I don't know, Victor. Let me see. Victor Wyatt's name is on any of these. Guy's yelling at me for having more questions and hasn't submitted one himself. If you guys haven't and you're interested, you can go to gamingnbs.com/AMA. It'll tell you, it'll take you to the forum. What will the frequency for the new podcast? That's a good question, K-Rise. I'm doing it every 2 weeks is a release schedule. What I'm beginning to realize, because I'm not Craig Shipman, I'm not that good, I'm scheduling not just another guest. I'm usually wanting 2 or 3 people on. So it's like, hey, can you be available at this time? And getting that pipeline filled. So I have people scheduled for the 5th, but they could fall off. And who do I get on? And what's the topic? And what's that person want to do? So right now I've got a list of topics I want to cover that is just kind of splatted on a page. And that way, if I ask people, hey, you want to be on? Here are all the topics we haven't covered. What do you feel most comfortable with? And I have a question that asks them that too. Because I don't want somebody's like, I don't want to be on the show talking about supers if I don't know anything about supers. Rightfully so. So I think I'm going to start out with every 2 weeks. If I did every week and then scaled it back, I don't want to do that. I can always ramp up. So I'm going to get the first one out here and probably to patrons today or tomorrow. And then I'll release it to the public early next week. And I'd like a consistent drop time, but I don't know if that's in the cards either. So, and the reason is if you're just starting out a show and you've never had anybody know who the hell you are, the uphill battle is much steeper. But I think with what we've garnered with Gaming and BS over time, I don't know if the consistent drop time and day is as big a deal as it used to be. Plus with the pandemic, it's changed a lot of things. So people aren't like in the same habit of driving to work and every Wednesday, Gaming and BS, or Tuesday, I think it was, would always come out at this time at noon. And so by the time I drove home that night, I know I'd have that episode. So it became part of their routines. Completely appreciate that. But I also know that a lot of people just get to it when they get to it. So they're not like waiting, looking at their phone to listen to it. So I think some of that landscape's has been changed over the last couple of years. So you just got some insight into Sean's brain. But yeah, what do you think of GM-less games? Yeah, I think they're good. If you had an example, I could probably comment a little bit better. Ty. Like Fiasco? Fiasco's a great game. It's GM-less. I don't want to play a ton of them. Yeah, K-Rise, I'll get you guys. I've got like 20-ish people that were like, hey, I'll be on the show or whatever. Maybe not on the show or maybe. Some of them are like, I'll answer emails or whatever. But I think I wanted to, if my brain is like adjusting course as the plane is in flight a little bit. But I think I have the overall gist. Once I get 5 or 10 episodes under the belt, it'll be better. But yeah, I went from Gaming and BS for 7.5 years. Pretty streamlined, pretty easy, I think, to I gotta get 2 or 3 people and pick them off and hit them up. Like I have a couple people that are interested and I say, great, can you be available the 6th? And then there's like no response. I'm like, I need like, can you commit or not? Well, maybe not that weekend. Great. Can we commit to something else? So, and it's a little harder now to get guests because, like, well, can you give me an example of, like, can I listen to one of your shows to get a feel of how you are, right? Because I've been on shows with different hosts and haven't listened to their show, and I'm like, oh, I should have probably done that because they're like jokesters or something, and I'm like going in, we're more serious. So once I get a few out there and people listen to them, they're like, oh, okay, this is kind of the tone of the game. Yeah. Craig's an animal. See ya, Joe. How do you coach up rookies to talk on a podcast? Are you test running your guests? Hey, VC, good to see you, man. Hope you've been here for a little while. Kind of winding down. So I have a guide that says, hey, here's kind of the tone. This is what we talk about. This is our audience. And this is the purpose of the show. I'm having you on here just to have casual conversation. So I do have an episode 0, Victor. Thank you very much. It's a good suggestion. It's an episode 0, but I might have to record it because I think when I did episode 0, it was much more this is what I'm thinking. And now that I've got an episode that I've done, this is what it is, right? Plus I get feedback, right? I'm going to tap the guests for feedback from their experience, which I have to get in place because I still have to get feedback from Harrigan, Mirko, and Angela. And hopefully they can say, hey, this is where I think you need to tweak things or make it a little bit better, streamline. It was a little clunky here. And oh, by the way, this is what I would do or consider. And I'd be like, great, fantastic. And then I can make it even better that way. So I'm excited. But yeah, it's a little bit of a slog. But, with Craig now, with his reputation and his hard work, he's going to get guests easier because people like John Harper like Craig. And so you get Strauss, who did Band of Blades and Scum and Villainy. I've heard, John spoke well of you. You made me comfortable. I really enjoyed the show. So you get that kind of thing going, and it becomes easier to get the associates of those individuals to kind of get into. And it's weird space. Like RPGs is weird anyway. You have to be careful of who you bring on, and you have to be careful. They have to be careful on what show they're on, right? They're like, I think I even told Nikki, who's going to be on in the future, like, hey, check this guy's website out. He does some professional game mastering. He seems like a very open, personable individual. So he passes I call it passing the Nazi check, It's just, that's going to be, just have the wrong person on your show and you are in a lot of trouble. So, yeah. Could always do solo, but then, you got to hear me talk for an hour. Hey-o. The irony's not lost on me. Well, right. Craig. Yeah. Hey, Farty. Good to see you. Yeah. Craig, I'm sure schedules. I have to pick his brain. Just say, hey, man, how far are you out? Because he's talked about a lot of guests, and he's done them in different order, if you haven't noticed. Like he'll say, oh, I am talking to in one episode, and that person he's talking to in the future is actually already been out. So I know he's probably doing some juggling to coincide with some Kickstarters people are putting out there, and, spacing them out and things of that nature, which is fine. You got it's pipeline. If you got a pipeline, you can make it work. And if it's evergreen, which Craig is putting out, right? Unless it's around a Kickstarter, but most of it's evergreen. So it's evergreen. You can put it out anytime you want. What I like about XDZ, you roll on a few charts and the game is ready to run. No prep at all. Roll on a chart of the monster, turn for what they do. It's pretty much GM-less game. Are you going to give guess the questions earlier so they can prep their answers? Good question. I told Mirko and Harrigan and Angela I didn't do that because I don't want it too prepped. Like, oh, I saw this question was coming up, so I wrote a paragraph. Let me recite you my thoughts. Like, I want it to be very natural. I kind of want to be in the moment. And frankly, we're game masters. You know, who's got the prep chops? If the group has certain questions about the topic, or they have certain things they want to nail on the topic and they have their own notes, great, fantastic. You know, that's cool. They've given it some thought. That may change. I may just be, here are the 4 points I want to hit, just so you know, and give them an idea. So I'm ironing that out a little bit. An hour, probably, Dorigo, because I think if you have more than 2 people on, you're going to need an hour just to pass the spotlight around. You know, and some of these will be podcasters, so they're going to talk. You know, you have to kind of, I think if it's any less, I mean, ours came in less than an hour. It was probably 50 minutes. I kind of cut it like, okay, we've been on about an hour. Let's, you know, I don't want to keep like around and around and around and around. And yep, we talked about that, and we're talking about it again and talking about it again. Yeah, VC. So yeah, of course, I've got some community members that have stepped up and volunteered and submitted. You can go to gmmastermind.com/join the trust. That'll get you to the survey. If you've already completed it, then you're on the list. And I think it even says like, what's your preference, whether you want to be on the air or submit an email. But I think I got to nail that down to be just like on air. And then your availability. I know, man. John, I know. Yeah, different perspectives. That's the whole goal. Absolutely, VC. Craig, look at that guy. Remind me to share a call sheet with you, Sean. Hey, I got a question for you, Craig. And I don't know if you don't have to say it here or not. I'm just curious if you have a release. Do you use a release with your guests? Like, hey, I need you to sign this. I have verbiage from what Happy Jacks uses. And Craig keeps tabs on me on sometimes, I think, because he knows I'm talking about him. He just wants to make sure my tone is correct. Or how much I'm mentioning him. Anyways, I did get a release, kind of some verbiage from Happy Jacks and what Kimmy uses over there. So I'll probably put that into place, and which I have to do and tighten up things a little bit. And that's another thing too. Like, video and audio is different. Like, hey, I'm going to have you on the audio show. You're going to be okay with that. If I do video, that's a whole different thing. I do not have a release, but I like to see what Jax uses. I will ask Kimmy. As a matter of fact, I don't need to. She put it out there on the Discord server, Craig. So she sent it to me personally, and then she also posted it to that Discord server and said, hey, this is what I use. And she uses like some free software that's very flow, right? Like, it comes up with a window. You can put your logo in the back, and then it tells you like whatever. And then you go, I accept, click. And then it goes to the next page. I accept, click, or enter this information. You enter it, you hit next. And at the end, you can actually ask for a digital signature, which I thought was pretty flippin' cool, right? Instead of doing like, hey, check this by checking this box, you agree. It's like, no, it's like, what do we use? DocuSign or whatever the other one was. So yeah, it's cool. I will tag you. I will remind myself to tag you on that. Theirs is very much on a streaming basis. So there's some streaming elements into it, but I think some people get I think they mention people getting a little weird with the we own your image piece. And what I think people don't understand is not owning you identity theft image. It's a legalese stuff that says, if we asked you to, like Happy Jacks asked you to submit a picture, because they put that in their promos, right? So when they put out stuff on Twitter, like, hey, here's the cast of this, and they put the people's pictures in there. When they create that piece is theirs, I think is what it's saying. So it's all, here's the deal. I don't know why I'm even getting into this. Here's the deal, though. Whenever I work with in corporate America, all the legal stuff that people sign is when stuff hits the fan and there's not a very clear understanding of what's involved. So it's just to cover asses. But there is always the right thing, and then there's the legal thing, in my opinion, or the wrong thing. As long as you're doing the right thing, the legal thing typically doesn't come into play. And that is just communicating like, here's the deal, and good faith. Like, we're not going to misrepresent you. I'm not going to take your words and reorganize them on the show to make you sound like a complete ass. Orcus, you got a release? I'd be curious what you ultimately end up using for your process once you've worked out the kinks and compare notes with ours and other RPG podcasters. Yeah, that's the biggest problem I'm having is like, so my workflow, now I can put half of you guys to sleep. The workflow is like, I need to record something. Who do I get on the show? Where do I go to find them? Okay, there's been some BSers that submitted their interest. Okay, I can go there. Okay, there's 20, so some people. Okay, when are they available? Okay, look at it. Well, see, I want to record on Monday, so let's see who's available Monday. All right, I want to cover this topic on pro GMing. None of these guys are doing pro GMing, so I have to go to pro GMs. Where do I find them? Okay, I think I got one or two. Cool. Or they stumble into my lap like, oh, this guy just posted. I want to do something like that. Can you be on my show? Great. Once I get somebody that's even like I want you on the show. Here's what we do, or we talk about. You interested? Sure. Then I send them a guide that's a little bit, and it's a document, and it's literally like, here's the show, target audience, purpose, kind of the mental reason behind it, right? Diversity and 3 different game masters, 3 to 4 game masters weighing in on a particular topic, helping out new game masters, existing game masters hone their craft, blah, 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 blah. We're not explicit, but if you drop a F-bomb, I'll bleep it out. Some of those details that really kind of goes, so somebody can go read it and go, oh, okay, cool. That sounds all right. Oh, by the way, when you read this, go to this other form. So I need them to fill out another form once they're kind of on board. So like, what do I call you? If it involves pronouns, right? What else? What do we promote, right? Where do they go? And I get that info. And then how long have you been game mastering? What are your go-to games, or what 3 games have you game mastered the most? And then what are you playing currently? Right? That information that I grab is to navigate the guests, right? Well, my name's Sean, but I go by, Jackwagon. Okay, good to know. You can go to my website or you can go to my Twitter account, right? That's good to know. And the reason I solicit that information, the biggest reason, is for intros. So I don't have guests intro themselves. I do it. As a matter of fact, with Mirko, Angela, and Harrigan, I had them fill out the form. I pre-recorded the intro and then said, okay, let's get started. And then I played the intro and they could hear it. And if there's a mistake, I'll edit and post. But I play it. And the reason I do that is because I think some people they're kind of like, what do I say? Do I tell them how many years I've been gaming? What I'm playing? Maybe they forget their core 3 games, so it's consistent every time. Like, hey, as a matter of fact, I could probably play one for you, the intro. And then when we wrap up the show, that's it. Like, where do the people find you? I don't even ask that question. I just go, thank you. We have links to everybody's profile or where you can find more information about them. Because I think with even podcasts, you're getting thrown so much anyway. You're like, subscribe, write a review, go to our Discord, go to our website, support our Patreon. Like the listener, man, they what? You got to give them one thing, in my opinion. But if they're like interested and they've heard this person talk or that person talk and they want more info, they can just pull it up on the notes. Hey, cool. I'm going to go follow them. So then I have them on the show and then it goes smoothly and that's great. And then I even want to promote it beforehand. So if they fill out the, hey, where do I go? Like, what games are you running? Blah, blah, blah. I can talk about it even before the show is even out, which I've done with Harrigan, Mirko, and Angela. Like, hey, this person has 16 years of game mastering. What will they tell us about being a pro? Sean Brett got a bear. Sweet. Good to know. Thanks, Joe. It's probably a lot of meat, I'm guessing. I wonder how much meat. I don't know if is it hard? I think deer is probably hard, right? Those things scare and spook and they spook easily and they jump through the woods and they're gone. And sometimes you can't even see them. Bears, man, those things they're kind of dumb, right? It's black bears. So then once they're done, then I have to get a survey to send to them and say, hey, you're on the show. Thank you so much. Would you be on again? And is there any tips or advice that you would like to provide me? It won't be anonymous because, that'll be tough to do. And then I'll put them on the short list again, like repeat. So I've got like these, I got a topic of tables. I got topic of submitted topics, a table of submitted topics from individuals like you. And then I've got, what topic did we cover in what episode and who was on it. And yeah, man, I'm crazy. It's all over. So once I get it streamlined, which I don't know if I'll ever will, maybe it's just putting everything in one thing. Like, can you fill this whole thing out? So I don't know. I'll let you know, Orcus. Here's an idea. If you did send out typo questions, you might talk about the topic ahead of time to your Patreon. You could share their answers in the episode as you record. That is not a bad idea. And as a matter of fact, Ty, that's what I want to do. Like, hey, we're going to talk about on the 5th with these individuals, pro game mastering. What kind of questions would you want to be aware of? I would like Ty Prunty, Ty Prunty writes in, what is this all about? And then they can answer some of that stuff. So absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thanks, Orcus. Yeah. If you want to submit to gmmastermind.com/join the trust, I think is the domain, or join the mind. They both go to the same survey. So yeah. No release for you guys. Yeah. And you know what? It works. We've never done one for Gaming BS, but then again, I don't, we've had, you could probably count on two hands how many different people we've had on our show. So not a big deal. And, the first interview or first guest we had on was probably Alex Kammer or somebody, like, hey, we personally know them. They know who we are. That's my fear, is like people don't know me. And I don't maybe know them or know the other person. And these two don't, like, yeah. Put the guest can on a spreadsheet to help you find who can be on. Yeah, absolutely. I got that. Yeah. See you, Joe. There are less bears than deer. Fair. Brett killed Smokey. Not Smokey. Black bear. Smokey was a grizzly, wasn't he? Brown bear. Victor, I'd much rather click a link than try to remember one to type in a browser later. For sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We can put a link in the notes, of course. Yeah. But yeah, just verbal. You catch me here, and I do, Angela's like, hey, you catch me on Twitter or Noam Stew. I mean, she didn't say this, but, she's got a few different things she's got going on. It would be, let's just spew out hers, Harrigan's, Mirko's, like 3 guests. The listener's not going to remember. Just like, hey, we're going to have links in the show notes where you can find all the works of these individuals and how to find them. Catching bear. Step 1, set out a picnic basket. Michael, you are... I wonder if Brett did that. Like, he probably doesn't even know to do that. He probably got on a bunch of hunting gear and guns and stuff. He didn't even put out a picnic basket. Bear hunting is a touchy subject even in the hunting community. Bears are for sure not dumb, though. Yeah, it's a lost thing on me. I'm not a hunter guy, so I get it. I'm not anti-hunting, but if Brett killed bear with a Swiss Army knife, I might be impressed. He did it with his bare hands, Ty. What are you, silly? Oof, knife? What are you talking about? You do know who you're talking about, right? He's done a lot growing up. Yeah. I was one of those kids that grew up in Wisconsin that didn't have a hunting parent, so I was not indoctrinated at a young age. Now I could buy food. Yeah, there's something behind the hunt piece, though. Picnic basket, for sure. Yeah, but thanks for all the questions. Thanks for all the interest. Appreciate it. So, yep. But excited. I got a lot of stuff. Like even our Forbidden Lands games I've been recording and I want to put those out, and it's just so much. I've got one that I did on Initiative that's somewhat edited. I want to do some B-roll and put that out. It's comparing Star Wars, Savage Worlds, low fantasy gaming, Cold Shadows, OSE maybe? But there was like 5 games comparing. Index Card RPG Master Edition, comparing just initiatives in each system and how you might be able to take one and put it into another. I have that done. I just got to put it out there, tweak it a little bit. So, man, I don't even have a full-time job. Like, I got to do job search and all this stuff too, which is like, which is fun, let me tell you. So, anyways. All right, see you, Orcus Dorcas. Jackrabbits. Down in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican girl. Marty Robbins. Great song. All right, I am going to hang it up. I've been on here for 2 hours. And you know what? You've got better things to do. And even if you don't, it's the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. So hopefully you're gaming, having fun. And, the world has been a messed up place for a while. It seems to rear its ugly head in the most inopportune times and the ugliest of heads. We've had that happen this past week here in the U.S. Not to get into those details, but if you find yourself, on social media and it's just overwhelming you, which is really easy to do, unplug, get away, read a game book, do something. And frankly, keep an eye out for others too, right? It's some of us are like, yep, I'm okay dealing with it, as okay as we can be. But if there's somebody else that's like got some really, really hard struggles, keep an eye on them. Give them the magic phone number if they need it to talk to somebody, because it's crazy. It's just nuts. So that's all I want to say about that. Keep an eye out for each other. And, remember, be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. All right. Catch you guys later. Have a safe weekend.